What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and I'm here to take you through the most comprehensive NBA player prop preview you're going to see. If it's your first time checking out the channel, I do this every single day. I share my screen, we go through outlier, we look at key players, form lines, matchups, odds. I tell you what I like, I tell you what I don't, and I do all this to help you make the best bets possible. Now, if you've been tailing my picks for quite some time, I'm in somewhat of a rut. Well, let's just call it for what it is. I'm getting absolutely smoked. I was absolutely fed up with what happened today. I think I only landed 2 winners, 4 or 5 losses, and look, I'm not going to hide from it. Let's talk about it real quick. And firstly, the winners. Faded Brandon Ingram under 10.5 rebounds and assists. That cash, but that was a sweat. He finished on 10. We took Nikola Jokic over 23.5 rebounds and assists. That cash quite easily. But let's get to these losses. God damn. We had Nikola Jovic over points and rebounds. He didn't get close. He didn't get the minutes. He didn't get the shots. He got nothing. So that was tough. Bam Adebayo took his under 13.5 rebounds. So what if his rebounds and assists chances are low? So what if he hasn't hit it all series? He bloody cashed the hell out of it today. Took Jaylen Brown over his points and rebounds. He cashed that in 2 straight. I saw more opportunities for him in this game. The opposite happened. Less shots, less rebounds. Absolute trash. Josh Giddey took his over 1.5 first quarter rebounds. He had cashed at like 8 of his last 10. 8 of his last 10 against the Pelicans. Only got 1. SGA got 5 boards in the first quarter. How about that? And then we took Anthony Davis over his PRA. It was looking good until he got injured, and then all the production stopped. So, look, there's probably a bit of bad luck in there, but I think a lot of them are bad picks, not gonna lie. So we'll do the preview as we normally do, go through all the key players, key matchups. But I'm thinking of fading myself, because if I had faded myself over the last few days, I'd be a very happy man because I would have won a lot of bets. So I'm going to try to reverse engineer what's going on here. I'll tell you what I'd normally play, and then I might even suggest the bet the opposite. But let's see how we go. I haven't planned this one out too much. Raw, unfiltered, uncut. Let's go. So we're kicking it off with the Philadelphia 76ers versus the New York Knicks. Joel Embiid's a game-time decision. Jalen Brunson, a game-time decision, but he's expected to play. Mitchell Robinson, game-time decision, and he is questionable for this one. Knicks, 4-point favorites in this one. I think they're up, 3-1 at the moment? So they could potentially close out the 76ers at home. It's going to be a wild game. I think out of the 3 games that are on, this is definitely the one that you want to watch. I won't be watching it because I'll be working at the time, but let's see if we can get some bets down to see what we like. So straight into outlier. Just clicked on that 76ers versus the Knicks game. It's already got its filters sorted. Let's get a little bit jiggy with it. Let's go at least minus 130. We'll see what the best hit rates are. We'll see if you want to take them. And then we'll get a little bit deeper and start deep diving some plays. So at the top of the board, we've got Tyrese Maxey. Now, if you've been tailing, I did take his over first quarter points prop in the last game. Only finished in 3. So he's cashed this in 9 out of his last 10 games, right? I took the bet on him, and he only finished on 3 points. So that was a bit of a heartbreaker. And normally that would be enough to scare me away from wanting to touch it again. But thinking of doing the opposite today. Thinking of jumping on Tyrese Maxey to go with his first quarter points prop. 9 out of his last 10, averaging 8.2 points per game in the first quarter. In head-to-head matchups against the Knicks, prior to that last game, he had covered this line in 6 consecutive games. I reckon normally I'd avoid this, but I'll probably take it. I'll take the 4.5. I'll even take the 7 as an extended play. I'm not going to overthink things because I think, part of the issue that I've run into is I'm probably overthinking way too much. And that's a lot of effort, a lot of thought going into it, and it hasn't been paying off for me. So, yeah, I like this. Let me know in the comment section if you like it too. Actually, let me know. Just respond to me. As you are watching this video, just smash the comment section. Just talk to me. Assume I'm talking directly at you and respond when spoken to. So tell me, do you like Tyrese Maxey over 4.5 points in the first quarter? Because I do. The hit rates are great. He let us down last time, but I'm willing to go back to the well. What else comes up? Tobias Harris in the first half. Now, that's very specific to, Prize Picks, which I don't have access to. It's a first half prop, but if you guys are keen on that, you can have a look. And the next one on the board's OG Anunoby, under 5.5 rebounds. Now, he has cashed this in 9 out of his last 10 games. The last game against Philly, he had 14 rebounds, which is crazy. Now, part of what I know about how he got these, I think Hardenstein was in a lot of foul trouble. The Knicks eventually got that small that OG was the one defending Joel Embiid. But 14 rebounds in that last game is absolutely crazy. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm willing to take it. I would probably lean to the under, right? Even look at this. 6 games against Philadelphia this season. 5 out of the last 6, he had cashed the under 5.5, but 14 rebounds in that last game is insane. So, yeah, I would lean to the under. I think he bounces back, but I'm not too confident in taking that. We've got Tobias Harris over 1.5 assists. The odds are pretty terrible for that one, so I don't want to look at that. I've got OG. If you want to fade OG, under 16.5 points plus assists. So this is cash in 8 of his last 10 games. And against Philly, he's cashed the under in 5 out of his last 6. So back at home, though, but checking out the series so far, the first 2 games in New York, OG only had 11 points and then 10 points and 1 assist, going well under these lines. Looking at his minutes, has started to see a lot more minutes as of late, but that could be because there's no Mitchell Robinson. If Mitchell Robinson comes back, that could change. But at the same time, there's no real guarantee here. So with OG Anunoby for this particular play, I would lean to the under. But given the way I normally think, that means the over might be a good play, right? Shit, I don't know what is going on here. So that's the last 10 stuff. Let's filter by the best things happening in the last 5. So we've got Tobias Harris. Now, I did speak to someone in our Discord about this today. Now, Tobias Harris has gone under his points prop in 5 consecutive games. All 4 games against the Knicks so far this playoffs, Tobias Harris has gone under 10.5, right? Which is crazy. He's gone under in 5 straight games against the Knicks, which is crazy. Now, one thing that actually makes this even more wild is check this out. His first quarter points, 2.5. Tobias Harris has covered this in 7 of his last 12. He's covered this in 3 out of the 4 games this series. So you can get 2.5 points for Tobias Harris in the first quarter for plus money, which is crazy. Now, I, for one, am not keen on either of these plays, but I just feel like the hit on these is pretty wild. We then have Jalen Brunson, rebounds and assists. Now, this was a bet that I took in the last game, which did cash. Now, Jalen Brunson has cashed this in 5 consecutive games. All 4 games in this playoff series so far, he's cashed his rebounds plus assist line 14, 14, 15, and 14. So he is back at home again. At home, the rebound numbers look great. The assist numbers not so much. Or is this just an adjustment to how the 76ers are playing him? I'm not too sure, but the hit rate on this is great. 5 consecutive games against the 76ers, he's covered this. All of those happen to be this season. So, look, the hit rate on this is terrific. We know he's going to get his minutes. The minutes are up there in the playoffs, 41, 38, 45, and 44. So the minutes are going to be there for Jalen Brunson. I personally don't hate this play. It actually worked for me last time. It makes sense to just run it back, right? Like, how could Philadelphia possibly limit his assists, let him score more points? He already shoots the ball about 30 times per game. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty decent play here for Jalen Brunson. I don't mind that. Let me jot that shit down. Whilst we're on Jalen Brunson, let's look at his points prop. So his points prop is now up to 34.5. This has been his playoff series, 22, 24, 39, and then 47. Looking at the volume, 26, 29, 27, and 34 shots. His last 2 games on the road against Philly, he got that field goal percentage up, and the minute the field goal percentage was there, absolutely cruising for a bruising. He's been crushing this line. So if you look at the head-to-head matchups against Philly, prior to those last 2 games, he had been struggling. Not struggling, but he had been going under, right? So I think what you've got to ask yourself is what's happened in the last 2 games? Has Jalen Brunson figured it out? Or is it because they've been on the road and they've had to rely on him to score more points? I don't know what it is. But I think what could be a good play, instead of just his rebounds and assists, you really could look at the PRA here. 47.5. Now, that's only cashed in the last 2, though. But we know that the rebounds and assists have been going over. His points prop's only at, 34? Like, my man, if he shoots at least close to 50%, he's going to score 35 to 40 points. So the PRA could be a good play, but it is rather intimidating. And this year, he's hit this at a 23% hit rate, which is not great. But this is the playoffs. More minutes, more opportunities, more shots at home. You guys let me know what you think. I personally like the rebounds and assist play. I think he could get a lot of assists in this game if the Knicks role players do play better. But I could be overthinking it, right? But look, up to you to make your own calls on this. I'm here to give you the data, share some points, and hopefully you guys are winning because of that. We then have Kyle Lowry. So I think this would be a good play. It's been hitting quite well. It's his PRA, 14.5. The first two games of the series, 24 and 17, both of these games in New York. The two games at Philly, 15 and 19. So Kyle Lowry definitely been producing quite well on the PRA side of things. If we look at his minutes, 38, 34, 30, and 33. So the minutes are definitely there for Kyle Lowry. This is a must-win game for Philly, so I don't know how they're going to approach it. But Kyle Lowry filling up the stat sheet in all different ways. Points, rebounds, and assists. He's giving it to you. There's not one particular prop that I'd probably like the most. Like his points one, he's probably okay. What's that one at? Let me have a look. 7.5. Yeah, so he's cashed this in 3 of the 4 games. But the PRA, he's cashed in all 4 games. It would have only been sweaty in one of these games. On the road, Kyle Lowry probably going to be trusted a bit more. Yeah, I'd probably lean that way, to be honest. But I guess this is the type of betting that's got me in trouble this year. Is this too good to be true? Kyle Lowry has cashed this in 4 consecutive games. Who's to say that he cashes it again, right? Confusing shit right here. But the hit rate here for Kyle Lowry is excellent. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take a deeper dive into that. I don't want to overthink this video and confuse you guys. So I'll give you the raw numbers, the numbers that look good. I'll put on my short list and I'll drive myself mad a little bit later. Who else do we have? We've got Josh Hart. Let's have a look at Josh Hart, all of his lines real quick. Firstly, let's look at his points. 14.5. He's covered that in 3 of his last 4. The last game, didn't take many shots, only 7 shots, and he shot 0 for 7. So he was terrible. The question is, how do you think he responds in this one? Looking at his assists, 4.5. He's cashed that in his last 2 games, 2 out of 4 games so far this series. I couldn't tell you what he does next. Then we have his rebounds, 11.5 to the line. He's gone 13, 15, then to 6, then back up to 17 boards in that last game. So the 2 home games he had, Josh Hart covered his rebound line, but the odds for this, minus 135. Not the greatest, but I would definitely lean to the over for Josh Hart. He's covered this in 6 of his last games, 6 of his last 8 games against Philly. So I don't think that's such a bad play. Let's go back into Tyrese Maxey. We'll look into his other props. His points prop, 25.5. He cashed that in both games in New York, 30 plus games. Came home to Philly, 25 and 23 points. So the volume has been there. The shot percentage has dropped off. Pretty low 30s in the 3-point department. Shooting okay from the free throw line as well. Normally I'd probably avoid it, but I don't think this is such a bad play. Tyrese Maxey overs. I think on the road, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid probably going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in this game. So I do like the points prop here for Tyrese Maxey. Looking at his assist line, 5.5, minus 135. Now he's cashed this in 3 straight games. The first 2 games of the series, 4 and 10. But I think what could be an interesting play here, instead of just his points prop, you could look at his points plus assists. I just have a feeling there might be a bit of hit rate on this series. 30.5 points plus assists. Yeah, there is. So he's cashed this in 3 out of the 4 games, whereas his points line, he's only cashed in the 2. The game he didn't cash his points plus line, he was under by 1.5. So I think that might be the better play here for Tyrese Maxey. Points plus assists instead of just his points. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my short list of things to get through. But what I really encourage you to do to help me out is drop some comments in. Let me know what your thoughts are as I go through these players, talk about their lines. Let me know where you think this is going. His rebound line, 4.5. He's cashed in 2 of his last 4, 2, 9, 4, and 6. So, yeah, somewhat unpredictable. I can't tell you which way that's going to go for Tyrese Maxey. So we move on. We've got Tobias Harris, not spending too much time on him. He sucks. But I want to look at his rebound line. That's been good sometimes. Rebounds for Tobias, 7.5. He's cashed that in 3 of the 4 games this series. 9, 9, 5, and then back up to 8. 7.5 is a plus money play. He did get 9 rebounds in both of the games played in New York, though. So that could be an incentive for you. In head-to-head matches, historically, 6 out of his last 12. So I'm not overly excited by that, but I'd probably lean to the over there for Tobias Harris. And then I want to look at Nicholas Batum because his rebound prop does look good. If you tune into the last game, last time I previewed this, he had 5 and 6 rebounds in his last 2. His minutes had been pretty decent. And I was like, this looks like a good play at 4.5. I didn't take it. He finished on 7. So we still get the 4.5 line at plus money here for Nick Batum. I'm not going to fade my French man again. And I might take a look at that. So Nicholas Batum, I don't mind that one. And then as we scroll down, so remember, this is all sorted by hit rate. So Joel Embiid. Now this could be a good play here. The under 2.5 steals plus blocks. In that last game, he did go crazy though. So yeah, I don't want to entertain that. But let's go through it. So he's 32.5. He's cashed in 2 of the last 4. Only had 27 points in that last game. Close to a must-win game. He shot 7 for 19. So I don't know if those legs are giving in. He got to the free throw line well. He was never going to shoot threes as well as he did in that last game. So he really came crashing back down to earth. 32.5 for Joel Embiid. I don't think I can entertain that. Assist wise, 5.5. He's cashed in 3 of the 4 games this series, 6, 6, 4, and 6. Again, I'm not loving that. These is Embiid props are a little bit too high. And then we have his rebounds prop 8, 10, 8, 10. If you like following trends, he's getting 8 boards in this game. But yeah, I'm not loving the rebound prop here for Joel Embiid either. So nothing on JoJo for me. I'm just going to open up the players to see if there's someone I may have missed. Now, Dante DiVincenzo, there's some part of me, and this was even previewed the lines, I thought, I think DiVincenzo could be a good play here. And I don't know why I thought that, because in this series, he scored 8, 19, 5, and 8 points. So hasn't been producing too much. Now, what are we looking at here? His minutes. He's played 25 minutes. 37 minutes was the only game where he covered this line. 2 games, 28 and 28 minutes. Field goal attempts are down 10, 10, 7, and 2. So, yeah, not necessarily getting the game time. We might see a bit of McBride action in this one. But DiVincenzo, it's really dependent on if he's making shots. Because if he's not making shots, there's no point keeping him out there. Well, that's just the reality of it in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think his line at 12.5 is quite low. I just can't take that with confidence because I feel like he's either going to crush this line or he's not going to get close to it pretty much. So I think he scores 5 to 8 points or he scores 15 to 20. That's where I'm projecting Dante DiVincenzo. Who else do we have in this game, though? Let's have a look at Miles McBride, actually. I think he's the one snaking my man's minutes. Quick look at his rebounds prop, though. He's cashed this in 3 of the 4 games this series. Over 1.5 boards, minus 119. Pretty decent. Looking at his minutes, and we can see game 1, he had a great game. So he played 28 minutes. Following that, 20, 23, 26. So probably staking a few minutes here off Dante DiVincenzo, but the rebound play, I don't think that's such a bad one. His points prop is at 8.5. Now he's cashed this one in 3 out of 4 games, 21, 9, 8, and 13. So he covered this line in both home games this series. So that's not such a bad play. Shot attempts, 12, 11, 7, and 7. A lot of them are 3-pointers, so he's living and dying by the 3. So the points prop, honestly, not a bad play for Miles McBride either. Assists, that line's at 1.5. He had cashed this in 2 out of the 4 games. The 2 games he did cash, though, were the home games against Philly. 4 in the first game, 2 in the second. But I think a play that could be on here is his points plus rebounds, potentially. 10.5, but it all comes down to minutes. And I'm not feeling too confident about the minutes for Miles McBride, so let's not fuck around with that. And then lastly, we got Kelly Oubre. Now, this asshole plays terrible when we bet on him and lights it up when we don't. So his points line, 11.5 in this game. Looking at the head-to-head series, he's got the first 2 games in New York, 10 and 4 points. Sucked ass. Then went back to Philly, scored 15 and 19 points, obliterating his lines. Now, what was different about these games? While minutes, he got consistent minutes in 3 out of the 4 games. Field goal attempts, minimal field goal attempts in the first 2 games. They started to increase in the latter. Took a lot more threes, made a lot more threes, and got to the line just a little bit. So, yeah, it just comes down to, is Kelly Oubre going to be this aggressive, and is he going to get this many minutes? And that I am not sure of. So I'm not going to take on Kelly Oubre, despite how green this graph looks. The feeling inside my gut says no. Rebound line, 4.5. He's only cashed this in 1 of the 4 games. So, yeah, not loving that for Kelly Oubre. And then his assists, 1.5. He has cashed that in 3 straight, but mine is betting Kelly Oubre assists. I'm just having a quick scan to see if there's anyone we may have missed. There is Hartenstein. He did break my heart in the last game. I did bet on him, and it did not come home. But similar to the Maxi play, it could be something that we run back. Let's have a look. So his points props at 8.5. He's cashed this in 2 out of the 4 games. 6, 14, 14, and 8. So he's more than capable of it. Last 2 games, he has found himself in a bit of foul trouble, though. Field goal attempts, that last game when I bet on him, he only took 6 shots, still shot 67% from the field. He missed his only 2 free throws, which could have helped me cash my bet. And then if we look at his assist prop, 2.5, 2 out of the 4 games he's cashed, both of those in Philly. So, yeah, look, I don't like what I see here for Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's not because I bet on him and it lost. It's just because I don't like what I see. Simple as that. But quick recap on what we're seeing so far in this game, or what I'm seeing that I don't mind. We've got Tyrese Maxey in the first quarter. Jalen Brunson rebounds plus assists. I also don't mind his points prop, but Jesus, that's a high ass prop. I know he'll probably cover it. I just would prefer the rebounds and assists. Kyle Lowry PRA, he's got a perfect hit rate in this series, 4 from 4. Tyrese Maxey points plus assists, so he's cashed that in 3 out of 4 games, and he's been excellent in the games in New York. And Nicholas Batum over 4.5 rebounds. So most of the plays here on the 76ers, believe it or not. I think Knicks, one of the role players is bound to step up. I just don't know who it's going to be. Could it be Josh Hart with another 20? DiVincenzo? Could it be Miles McBride? I don't know. So what we do know is Jalen Brunson's going to have the ball. If he's on the court, that ball's going to be within his hands. So let's jump into the next one. We're looking at the Orlando Magic versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The line in this one is Cleveland minus 4.5. So this series is currently split 2-2. Both home teams being dominant, really. Cavs back at home. They're expected to be dominant once again. So this could be a difficult one, but I already have a play in mind that I want to take, and this is purely in response to the last game. So I'll get to this list eventually, but the one player that I'm looking to fade here is Franz Wagner. So rebounds and assists. He has gone under 10.5 rebounds and assists in 8 of his last 10 games. The 2 games, his most recent games when he went over, both of those games were the Magic at home. In head-to-head matchups, he's cashed this. It's gone under in 7 of 11. The 4 games he did cash, 3 out of the 4 games were home games for the Cleveland Cavs. Now, on the road, let's take a look at this. Should have done this earlier. He's gone under in 5 of his last 6 road games against Cleveland. And if we look at his last 10 on the road, he's gone under in 8 of his last 10 on the road. So, and the games he went over, Atlanta and Toronto, absolute rubbish. Any other team, my man Franz has struggled on the road. Now, I want to look at his points prop for the very same reason. See what the F is going on over here. So 19.5 is his line. He has cashed this in 1 game this series. First 3 games, 18, 18, 16, and then straight up to 34. What was different about that game? He saw slightly more minutes. He took a similar number of shots. He shot 76% from the field, 2 from 3 from deep, and then 6 from 7 from the line. So a truly dominant performance from Franz. Cleveland at home, I'm expecting them to be absolute monsters on the defensive end. If they suck again, they could say goodbye to this series. But I am expecting some sort of response here from them. Another play I could look at is maybe the PRA and just fade the whole thing. Take the under 30.5. Now that's cash in 6 of his last 10, 8 of his last 11 games against Cleveland. And if we look at his away games, this is cash in 5 of his last 6 away games. So, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Cavs absolutely destroy these guys, seeing that they're back in home? Which Franz play do you think is best? The points, the PRA, the rebounds plus assists? I don't mind taking the under in the PRA, to be honest. Because he's not like taking a whole lot of shots. It was just in that last game, he shot an insane field goal percentage, 76%. You can see he's never shot that high against Cleveland in the past. He got 13 rebounds, and look, that helps if the Cavs can only score 89 points. And he also got 4 assists. So Orlando truly dominant in those last 2 games. They really slowed down Paolo in that last one. I think in this one, they're not letting Franz do this to them in the back game. So, I don't mind the PRA and the point and the rebounds and assists, but we'll see which one I end up with. But that was one that I had already been thinking about. Now, looking at the consistent props, what do we have? Donovan Mitchell over 1.5 first quarter assists. I did bet this on the last game and it cashed. So this is cash in all 4 games so far this series, 2, 2, 5, and 3. 9 out of his last 10 games, and it's cashed in 6 consecutive games against the Orlando Magic. Now, this reminds me a lot of the Josh Giddey play that I took, and it blew up in my face. So even though I do like this play, I'm not going to take it. These first quarter plays, I feel like ass when they don't hit. So, but I also feel like a legend when they win. But I'm not overly keen on it. Another one that outliers propping up for us is Jalen Suggs under 1.5 turnovers. Now, he had 7 turnovers in that last game, which is pretty wild, and the Magic won. But this is cash in 9 of his last 10. I am better on turnovers, not at a time like this. Let's go back into diving into Donovan Mitchell a little bit further. Line's at 24.5. These are his 4 games: 30 points, 23, 13, and 18. Back at home at 24.5. He's got to bounce back, right? But one thing we've seen recently, shot percentage down and volume is down. But I think in the past, I'd probably lean to the under because of that. But they're going back at home. He'll be more aggressive. I reckon he'll take more than 20 shots in this game. It just comes down to, can he make them? 3-point land. First game, 38%. Second game, 2 for 10. Then 1 from 6, 1 from 4. So he's been shooting absolutely terribly. His first quarter points prop, now that's cash in 3 out of the 4 games: 10, 14, 2, and then 8. Back at home, he had monster games: 10 and 14 for Donovan Mitchell. He was a freak. I might even think of playing this one, to be honest, because he does tend to come out shooting in a lot of these games. Back at home, he knows he had been playing too well on the road. I think he comes out aggressive as hell. Like, he's got the keys to that city right now. I might take the 5.5. I might take him at 7. I might take him at 10 as well. But Donovan Mitchell, I feel like he bounces back in this one. And that's not I think it's not a statistical thing. It's or analytical thing. It's just vibe and feeling, right? Knowledge of the sport. I think I've maybe over-relied on the data, perhaps. I don't know. These losing days got me questioning everything right now. But that's my thoughts on his points. What do we have for assists, though? 5.5. Went under in the 2 games at home, 3 and 4. On the road, 7 and 6 assists. So do you think he continues to fire out that many assists? Or do you think he just comes out and scores a lot easier? So that's what I'm thinking about. His rebounds prop 4.5. 2 out of the 4 games, 2 and 8 at home, and then 5 and 1 on the road. I couldn't tell you what the hell Donovan Mitchell's going to do on the glass. I'm looking at the other players with the highest hit rates. This could be one. Wendell Carter Jr., first quarter rebounds under 1.5. I think part of the issue is he's back in the starting lineup now, but I think the last 2 games he was starting and he still went under this. So in the 4 games this series, 0, 1, 1, and 0 on the road. Look, he's got it done against him in the past, but betting on less than 1.5 rebounds in the first quarter, you're going to be clenching the whole time. So that doesn't sound like an enjoyable experience, but you might like that. So go ahead and clench away, my brother. All right, let's talk about Jared Allen. Now, his rebound prop does interest me because that's kind of fallen off. Back at home in Cleveland, where he's rebounding like a beast. Do we expect him to get back to that? I do, because I think Cleveland's defense improves once again. But let's see. His first quarter points, 5.5, cash in 3 out of the 4 games. I'm not too excited about that. His points props at 16.5. He's cashed this in only 1 of the 4 games against Orlando. His line at a lot of these games were 15.5. So back at home after a 21-point outing, that line's gone up to 16.5. And I think that's just about right. But here we go. The rebound prop, 11.5. First 2 games, 18 and 20 boards. Then the last 2 on the road, 8 and 9 rebounds. I did bet his over in rebounds in the last game. Minutes definitely down. Of course, you're getting blown out. So I don't think the Cavs get blown out in this game. I think they keep it close, keep Jared Allen on the court. And I think there's an opportunity here for a massive rebound game. It's just that this is how the series has gone. The home team has been extremely dominant. And if the Cavs stay dominant in this one, there's going to be a lot of boards available here for Jared Allen. So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the last 2 games. I'm not afraid of the lower minutes. Let's go Cleveland, back at home. I might even take Jared Allen for 15 boards. I don't give a fuck anymore. This is about feeling and vibes, boys. But that's Jared Allen. Who else do we have in this game? Darius Garland. Now, Darius Garland's been pretty average this whole series. Points, 14.5. 14, 15, 5, and 14 in this series. I've got no feelings on that. Assists, 6.5. Cash in the first game. Then he's gone under in 3 straight. I'd probably lean to the over for this for Darius Garland, but I don't like what I see, to be honest. So he can stick it up his ass. We have Evan Mobley. Now, he's had some decent games. I have bet on him before, and it didn't work for me, but let's take a look at it. Points-wise, 15.5. He did cash in the first 2 games at home, went under in the 2 games on the road. Makes sense. In the rebound department, 8.5 boards. I did bet he's under 8.5 boards in the last one, and he finished on 9. Thank you, Evan Mobley. So 2 out of the 4 games he's cashed this, so I don't have any thoughts and leans on that one. Looking at his assist line, 2.5, only cashing 1 in the 4 games. So I'm not overly keen on Evan Mobley in this game. I think one important thing to think about is Max Strus. So Max Strus rebounds and assists. That's the one I want to look at. His rebounds and assists were through the roof at the start of this series. Once they got on the road and the Cavs started getting absolutely fisted, Max Strus got nothing. So check out this streak. He was murdering his lines, massive rebound games. Then he went on the road. He had 1 assist, 1 rebound, followed up with 3 assists and 1 rebound. Looking at his minutes, yeah, they dropped off like everybody else or the other Cavs starters, but Max Strus was an absolute beast at home. Does he go back to it is the question. So I guess if I run this back and I do take Max Strus because Cleveland are back at home, if I've read this script wrong though, and this is the challenge I've been finding, the Max Strus play, Jared Allen play, and even the France play, they're all kind of backed on the same angle that Cleveland are going to be better here. I could get absolutely smoked. So one thing I'm thinking about and how I'm going to play this, because I probably have 3 to 4 different plays in each game that I don't mind. What I'm thinking of doing here, I'll probably pick 1 or 2 of my favorite plays from the ones that I come up with, play those as straight bets. All the others, well, let's create a same game parlay, because the script in my mind, if it does run the way it should, a lot of these should bang. But if that script is wrong, and I bet 5 straight bets in the same game, and I've read it wrong, we're going to get absolutely fisted here. So I'll look at a way to minimize the risk. But I think the Max Strus play at home with more minutes, that could be another banger, right? That's just what I'm thinking. Who else have we got here? Karis LeVert, not too keen on him. What about someone like Mo Wagner? So his points line is back down to 7.5. Now, if you remember the 2 games in Cleveland, Mo was the bright light off the bench. 10 and 12 points off the bench in Cleveland. They came back to Orlando. He wasn't necessarily required. Those were a little bit sketchy, though, so I don't like that. His shot attempts and percentage were down in the last 2. So if Mo goes off in this next game and covers this points line of 10 points, I'll probably be looking at him in the next one. But for now, it's not something that I'm willing to take. The last one, I think, is Paolo Banchero. So let's check him out. Outliers filtered his first quarter assist. Yeah, only 2 of the last 4. I don't think so. So his points line, 21.5. First game in Cleveland at 24, second 21, 31 at home, and then he only scored 9 points in that blowout win against Cleveland. Wasn't required to do too much at all. Didn't shoot very well, but I couldn't tell you what he does here in Cleveland. I think he does score a bit more. I think a lot of the role players for Orlando do struggle a bit. I think it's going to fall to Banchero to carry this offense. I just don't know if he's capable of doing it. His rebound prop is at 6.5. He's covered that in 2 of the 4 games, 7, 3, and 4. Unpredictable. If you're following these trends, though, he's probably going over, but I'm not taking that with any confidence. His assist line at 4.5, he had 5, and then 3, 5, and 5. He's actually hit this in 9 of his last 10 games, but at minus 155, I'm not interested in playing that. Now, I'm pumping the brakes real quick before we get to this last game, Pacers v. Bucks. Just to let you guys know, just want to clear some things up. Yes, I am going to be looking at WNBA content once the NBA starts to slow down a little bit. So I probably won't have the big break that I was expecting to have, but just to keep you guys going, I can create some content for you on the WNBA. You know about that. The other thing I'm looking to do is, because I do all my picks for free, and look, as of late, the picks have been terrible, right? So I'm looking for ways to create more value for you. Now, obviously, this video that I do every night to share all the player props, I see this is quite valuable, and I'm sure a lot of you guys love it, right? You just watch it every single day. The views are going up, subs are going up, so a lot of people are definitely loving it. But I'm trying to find other ways to provide more value to you guys who tune in and view this every single day. So I just want to share with you that a couple of things that are on my mind. I'm looking to try to organize some promo codes and partnerships with more sports books. At least that way you get access to better opportunities, better promos, deposit matches, and things like that. I'm not in the US, and a lot of them I don't have access to, but if I can get those, secure them for you to get you more bonus bets perhaps, or for you to get more lower lines and I guess to help you succeed, that's definitely something that I'm looking at the moment. The other thing I'm looking at doing is in May, which is coincidentally tomorrow for me. I do have a week off in like the early to mid part of May. in that week off, I'm actually planning on open up Calendly, allowing you guys to book me in for anybody who wants to do coaching for sports betting. Now, I know personally my hit rate as of late has been terrible, but in terms of the coaching for sports betting, there's a lot of things that I can coach you through. If you didn't know, my day-to-day job, I'm actually the head of sales in a company where I spend the majority of my day doing strategy, high performance coaching, training, management, right? So that's my wheelhouse. And a lot of those things that I do every day, they actually roll into coaching around sports betting perfectly. So if you'd be interested in doing something like that, let me know in the comment section if you would be up for some coaching sessions. There will be a small fee for it because I have to charge for my time, but I can actually open up Calendly for the week that I'm not going to be working, to allow you guys to book me in if you'd be interested, and we can do coaching sessions. We can do it on bankroll management. We can do it on research. We can do it on discipline. You just let me know what you want the session to be on, and we can create that to cater to you. So I just really wanted to get the feelers out, see if that's something interesting. Ultimately, I'm just trying to find ways to give you value. I don't want to be the guy that just shares outlier every night and that's it. So looking for more things to help you out, and to thank you for all the support that you guys give me. Now let's get into the preview. Pacers v Bucks. Let's go. Now this series looks well and truly dead. This game is being played at Milwaukee though. Pacers -4 favorites on the road, but Tyrese Halliburton's a game time decision. Pat Beverly's a game time decision, but likely to pay. Middleton's a game time decision, but likely to pay. Giannis and Dame are game time decisions. Most likely they will not suit up for this game. And given how important a lot of these players are, I'd be really hesitant to bet on any of them right now. But let's go through it anyway. Let me show you some numbers and let's see what we can find. Now, firstly, Outlier has filtered everything by the hit rate. And you can see a lot of these picks. There's a lot of green going on here. So let's jump into these and see what's so good about them. Now, Chris Middleton, the first prop here is under 6.5 assists. Now, we know that Giannis and Dame are not here, but Middleton's gone under in 9 of his last 10. Giannis and Dame didn't play in that last game. He only had 5 assists, right? So even without Giannis and Dame, this hasn't necessarily cashed very well for him. If we remove Giannis and Dame from Chris Middleton's stats, we can see that he's gone under in 7 of his last 10 games without Giannis and Dame. Now, this season, let me check. This season, it's only been the 2 games. OKC, he went under, and Indiana, he's gone under. I think the only concern here is, the Bucks are at home, and at home you'd probably expect the role players to be a little bit better. But yeah, I don't think this is such a bad play. So thank you, Outlier, for that one. Another one is Middleton's under in his points plus assists for very much the same reason. He's gone under in 9 of his last 10 games. Scored 47 in 42 and 5 assists in one game. But yeah, it looks like the fade on Middleton is a plus EV play there. It's got a great hit rate. Now we've got Bobby Portis. So Bobby Portis under 36.5. What did he do? He get injured or he got ejected in that last game? But he did fuck all. But he's gone under 9 of his last 10 games. He's had a game against Indiana with 17 points and 18 rebounds, and he still went under this PRA. So this 36.5, I don't know where the hell this is coming from. And I know Dame is not there, but I don't know if Bobby Portis suddenly becomes a man who scores, what's his line, 20 and a half points and 12.5 rebounds. So that's, 33. How many assists is this guy expected to get? 1.5. He doesn't get many of those. So 36.5 PRA for Bobby Portis seems like a crazy play. Am I losing my damn mind here? So this season, I know there's no Giannis, but this season he's gone under in 80 of 86 games. So there must be something brewing in the water here that gives us an indication that Bobby Portis is going to be that guy to carry everything to do with his Bucks offense. I think Middleton and Beverly probably do a lot of the creating. Bobby Portis, yeah, he'll be a great option, but yeah, this seems nuts. If we just look at games without Giannis, he's gone under in 9 of 13 games. But look at games without Dame Darla. It's only been 10 games, but he went under in all 10 games without Dame, like with ease. And then if we look at the games without both of them, he's had 2 games without both of them. This game he got ejected, but this OKC game without both of them, 3 assists, 8 rebounds, and 4 points. He only played 21 minutes. So, yeah, somebody's on their bullshit around here. But I already know that this particular game, like when bookies set the line this high, They set the line this high despite the hit rate being terrible. It's like they know something's up. I feel like saying fuck you because the hit rate's not great here for Bobby. So I'll be looking into the under. He's 36.5 PRA. Let me tell you. Whereas Chris Middleton, we've seen him get close to these. So that's a pretty dangerous bet in my opinion. But I would lean to the under for the Middleton stuff anyway. What else is hitting quite well? We've got TJ McConnell. Now, this could be a very interesting play because if Halliburton is a bit banged up, TJ McConnell could be value with Halliburton potentially getting less minutes and whatnot. So what's wrong with Tyrese? He's got back spasms. Now, that doesn't sound like much fun. Pacers in a great position here. What are they? They're up 3-1? Yeah, 3-1. Chance to close them out on the road. They don't want Giannis to come back, so he does play. But TJ McConnell, he still plays every single game. Now, his assist prop, he's covered this in 2 out of the 4 games. Not great. 8 out of his last 10. If we look at his minutes, we can see he's playing 18, 16, 15, and 18 minutes. That last game, he had 8 assists. Now, on the road in Milwaukee, he had 1 assist in the first game. I think he took a whole lot of shots in that one. 4 assists in the game after. But if Tyrese Halliburton is a little bit banged up, this TJ McConnell assist prop could be an okay play. What I'd also be interested in his points because sometimes he just gets on there and jacks it up. Here we go. 10, 6, 7, and 8. His shot attempts, 13 shots. I think he played like 18 minutes. So he's playing less than 18 minutes. 13, 6, 6, and 11. So the volume is definitely there for TJ McConnell. He does shoot over 50% from the field as well. So he only needs 8 shots to cover these lines. His points plus assists is at 11.5. Now, he's cashed that in only 1 of the 4 games, but I just feel like if Tyrese is not good to go, then we could be getting TJ McConnell at an extremely low line right now. So I'll look at the points plus assists for TJ. If we just look at his game logs this season without Tyrese Halliburton, just to get you a bit aroused, he's cashed this in 9 of 12 games, averaging 18.2 points plus assists. So we already know the Bucks not the greatest at defending point guards already. So this, it could be a good play. That's what I'm going to say. Filtering by the last 5 now. Is there any ones that we haven't seen? Ben Shepherd off the bench for the Pacers. His PRA is at 7.5. In this series, he's covered this line in all 4 games, 8, 11, 9, and 10. So looking at his minutes, though, 9 minutes in the first game, and this was the game where the Bucks won. So he didn't get much run time. Second game, Pacers got the upset, 8 points, 3 boards, covered this PRA with ease. Then the 2 home games, he only got 17 and 14 minutes. Quite productive, to be honest, in minimal time. He shoots a pretty high percentage. Who is this guy? He's a wing. Pretty good 3-point shooter, 47% against them in these last 5 games. Doesn't get to the free throw line too much, but the hit rate on this for Ben Shepherd is excellent. Like, I don't know the bloke, but look, he's been hitting quite well. And based on this Bucks lineup that they're putting out there, Pacers favorites on the road, Halliburton a little bit banged up. They might go a little bit deeper into their backcourt here for Ben Shepherd. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the popcorn machine real quick and I'll see what types of minutes is this guy getting. That's what I'm thinking about. I'll share the tab. I just got to remember to go back to Outlier. And we can see it here. So Ben Shepherd, his first stint is in the first quarter. So he plays the end of the first quarter, the start of the second quarter, then he plays the end of the third quarter, then the start of the fourth quarter, and then depending on the outcome of the game, he closes. So if the Pacers are, well in front, then he could eventually close this game out for them as well. So, I don't hate that for Ben Shepherd. And it's not someone I would normally bet on. So let's have a look at Ben Shepherd here. Add him to the short list and let's see where we end up. So thank you, Outlier. I never would have spotted that one, that's for sure. We got all the fades and Bobby Portis, Pat Bev. Let's look at Pat Beverly. So he's gone under his points plus rebound line in all 4 games this series. 12, 9, 13, and 10, but the Bucks are back at home. So I'm a little bit cautious about that. Points-wise, 9.5. He's cashed in only 1 of the games, but, no Dame, more opportunities for Pat Bev. Assists are at 4.5. He had 8 assists in the first game. That was with Dame, and he's yet to cover it since. So, but he is at home, though. So there's a lot of reasons for me not to take Pat Bev. I think Miles Turner could be a good play. He's been playing very well this season. In this series. is his 3-point line, 2.5. He's cashed it in all 4 games against the Bucks. 3, 3, 4, and 7. Plus money for Miles Turner to cover this. Looking at his attempts, 9, 6, 10, and 9 attempts for Miles Turner. So, look, I do like what I see, but he just had 7 3-pointers. I feel like he has to have regression in this game. How much regression? That I do not know. But yeah, the Bucks, they're actually not good at defending 3-pointers for centers. They haven't been good at it all season. So, yeah, Miles Turner, to continue this streak, we only need 3 3-pointers, and he's taken a lot of them. He should take at least 7 to 8 in this game. At 8, yeah, I think I can deal with that. So that's not bad. His points line's at 20.5. He's covered this in 3 of the 4 games. His last 2's killed them. 29 points in these games. A lot of 3-pointers, like we said, but shooting a decent field goal percentage and getting a lot of shots up, getting to the free throw line as well. So points-wise, yeah, he's getting it on. He's getting it popping. Assists at 1.5. Yeah, look, he's had some games with big assist numbers. 3 out of his last 4 games, he's covered his assist line. This is sickening. What do we got for rebounds? 8.5, 8, 7, 9, and 9. So I think what we've got to look at here for Miles Turner is probably just his PRA, because he's been a fucking monster against these Bucks. First game, he had 27, then he followed up with 35, 39, and 42. The line's only at 31.5. Brook Lopez can't shine Miles Turner's shoes. So I think I like that better than the 3-point prop, to be honest. Because I think there might be some regression on the 3-point side. And if there is, we could possibly lose it. But based on the PRA, I think it might be the safer pick. Even though the hit rate's a little bit worse, there's a lot of other things that could work our way. Whereas, if he finishes 2 from 8 from deep and just gets a lot of buckets in the rim and dunks because they're running him off the line, perhaps, I think the PRA there for Miles Turner could look good. Who else is there that I may not have discussed in this? Pascal Siakam. So I'm going to go through Pascal Siakam and I'm going to relive my nightmare of Obi Toppin. But Pascal, firstly, hitting his first quarter rebound prop quite well in this series. 3 out of the 4 games. I'm not too keen on that. But his points line's at 23.5. First 2 games on the road against Milwaukee killed it. Indiana, 17 and 13 points. I couldn't tell you what Pascal's going to do. His rebound line, much the same as his points, killed it in the first 2, came back home, underperformed. I don't know what you're doing, Pascal. Assists, 3.5. Last 3 games, absolutely smoking the assists. I guess this is probably one reason why he's not scoring much, because he's setting up his other players. So, yeah, for Pascal, probably lean over the assist prop, to be honest, but the odds for that are not terrific. Who else do we have? Let's relive my nightmare. Obi Toppin. So, Obi took his rebounds in the last play, didn't come off. His points line, 8.5. He's cashed this in 3 straight games now. 9, 15, and 13 points in limited minutes for Obi Toppin. He shoots a lot of shots. 11, 11, and 9 attempts in his last 3. So the points line looking scummy. I think he hit this in his first stint on the court. He covered this points line. His rebound line was looking good until that last game. So the 3 games prior, great rebounding efforts. Then this game, I bet on his rebounds. Me, that sucked. But his line for that is 3.5. I think we could see a flip for Obi Toppin, perhaps. 12.5 points plus rebounds. If I had taken this in the last game, we'd been looking sweet. So it didn't hit for me, but I think there's a good chance that Obi Toppin bounces back on the rebound side of things. But obviously the high volume is there for his shot. So I don't mind that as well. The first game in Milwaukee, 4 points and 5 boards. I just want to see what's different about that game compared to the others. Well, one, he only played 13 minutes and the Pacers lost. So when the Pacers are losing, obviously he's going to get less time. Pacers, favorites here. No Dame. They should close out the series in this one. Gentleman's sweep. So I think the minutes could be there for Obi Toppin. Field goal attempts. That first game, he only shot the ball 6 times. Since then, 11, 11, and 9. So the volume is there. 3-pointers, he shot 0 from 4 in that game, which is bad. He did make 3s in the others. And then free throws, doesn't get too many of those. So, yeah, I don't mind this play. Obi Toppin, points plus rebounds. I'm not making the mistake and just taking one prop again, because this guy can get active in minimal amount of time, and hopefully we make the right decision here. Obi. The next one is Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I saved him for last because I don't know what the hell he's going to do. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know how he's going to perform. But let's just talk through the numbers. Get the fuck out of here. So his points prop, 17.5. He's cashed in his last 2 games, both of those games at home in Indiana. back on the road at Milwaukee, 9 and 12 points in the first 2 games of this series. He was ass. He didn't shoot the ball very well. Or he didn't shoot much, sorry. Look at his attempt. 7 and 10 on the road, came home to Indiana, 22 and 16 attempts. I don't know what the hell he's doing. His assist number, 10.5. He cashed, 8 and 12 in the 2 games in Milwaukee, then 16, then straight back down to 4. So I don't know what's going on here for Tyrese Halliburton. He even pulled out a triple-double. His rebounds, 7, 4, 10, 4. So he's probably due to go over his rebound line if these trends mean anything to you. I don't like what I'm seeing here from Tyrese Halliburton. Not to say he won't have a good game. It's just confusing the hell out of me. So I can't tell you what's going to happen in that one. And I just remembered I was sharing the damn popcorn thing. So you guys probably missed the last few plays, and I apologize. I fucked it up again. So I got to stop sharing all these other tabs. But I've got a lot of lists of leans to go through. I'm going to decide which ones I like to take or not. I'm also starting to use new tools to find and not find picks, but to validate them. I'm toying with a few other tools at the moment. Once I know that they work, I'm going to share it with you. But let's see how we go. So best of luck for you and all the bets that you do decide to play. I don't encourage anyone to tail my picks, but if you want to, for transparency, I will share them all anyway. So best of luck. Stay safe. Support your boy. Sub to the channel if you haven't, and let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.